And we're live! Hello, everyone, and how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine. Okay, and we're back. Alright. Yeah, when I start a live stream and I'm automatically dropping frames, it needs to be restarted. Try again. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Call-In Show. Alright, so what is there to chit-chat about? Excuse me. Well, there's plenty going on. Some of it I don't want to talk about because, some things I don't talk about because they don't interest me. The truth of the matter is I only like to talk about the things that interest me. But there's a lot going on that is of interest, at least to others. Doesn't really hold my attention too much. But anyway, so I wanted to start off talking about this Cardi B. Anybody ever heard of this broad? I don't know who this broad is. I have no idea. Apparently that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez nut job likes her. I don't know. Somebody said they've heard her talk about her or something. And I have even less interest then when some ditzy 29-year-old bro with an IQ of 80 is interested in somebody like this. Apparently she's some kind of pop singer or something. Hip-hop or... I hate hip-hop music. Hate rap. I hate that fucking Eminem wicker, right? Why doesn't he just grow some dreadlocks, right? Get it over with. By the way, dreadlocks are not even a black thing, by the way. They were originally worn by white people, and then blacks appropriated our culture, yeah, and then tried to make it their own. Anybody remember that video of that crazy black girl at a university confronting some poor white kid and grabbing him and assaulting him because he had dreadlocks, and she's trying to essentially convince him that it's cultural appropriation, and she doesn't even know the history of dreadlocks, and she's got some white knight simp there backing her up, and the moment the poor kid with the dreadlocks tried to get away and tried to push her hand off him, he's like, hey, hold on a second. Yeah, you're going to defend her, but you're going to let her assault him, and if he tries to defend himself, you'll probably attack him. These people are nuts. These people are nuts. And white knights are a plague on the world. Need to stop protecting these broads. Let them suffer the consequences of their actions. Maybe then they'll change. And this Cardi B is kind of a perfect example of that. So it turns out that this Cardi B broad, again, I don't know who the hell she is. I wonder what her real name is. Apparently, she used to be a whore. Well, I mean, she still is, obviously. I'm sure. I'm sure somebody's giving her something for something at some point to get that booty, so yeah. But apparently she was a real legitimate whore, as in, at least honest about it, where she'd have sex with you in exchange for cash. But here's the kicker. It turns out that she would drug dudes and steal their shit. Yeah. Oh, but that's not the best part. That's not the best part. The best part is this dopey broad, this dummy. Well, I guess her only talent is singing. I've never heard her sing, by the way. Maybe she's talented. I mean, let's be honest. You don't necessarily have to be talented as a singer. You can just have the right look. You can have a little talent, but you don't have to be Celine Dion or some shit like that. So apparently, yeah, she used to be a hooker. Maybe a high-class one. I don't know. I wonder if she was standing out on the corner or if she had an advertisement in one of those print papers, or if she was online, probably on Craigslist or something. And she'd meet the guys, drug them, and then they'd pass out, and she said she'd steal their shit. And she's so dumb, she told people this on Instagram or something. What? You're committing multiple felonies, and you're telling people about it? That reminds me of that one broad who robbed someplace and then posted a video of herself afterwards with, mountains of cash talking about the crime, and then she got arrested. How dumb are you? But it turns out she's very confident she won't be arrested, and I guess it's because it was a long time ago, or these guys that she robbed or never reported it, so she figures, I'm safe. They were too ashamed, and apparently she's right, at least up to this point. I mean, this is a recent revelation, and maybe there's not been enough time for these guys to hear about it or decide whether or not they want to come forward, but it's unlikely they will. And, you know, one thing that shocked me was that this broad would do this, because it's like, hello, you're admitting to a felony. But the other thing is that all the support she's getting. Yeah, there were a lot of people attacking her, as they should be. She should be getting a knock on her door from the cops and getting arrested. But again, there has to be a complaining witness, right? Which there haven't been. But what's really shocking is as many people as came out to attack her, just as many, if not more, came out to defend her. Oh, well, she was a Wayman. She was doing what she had to do to survive. Oh. Charge more for the poon. Eh? If you've got such magic poon, why are you going to rob these guys? Huh? Charge more money. Oh, your poon ain't that magical. Well, you know. That's the market, you know. If you don't have magic poon, you don't get magic moolah, right? But apparently, I guess her poon wasn't magical enough, or she hates men, which is obvious, because you don't drug and rob people you like. And if you do it to enough people of the same sex, clearly you hate that sex. Oh, but that's perfectly okay. I guarantee you this is going to make her a feminist hero. It's going to make her a feminist friggin' hero. If it's a guy, the women would be crawling out of the freaking woodwork to report this guy. Oh, he drugged me and robbed me. When does that happen, right? Well, when was the last time you ever heard a guy drug a woman and rob her, but not rape her? Because for him, the currency is in the poon. But for her, the currency is in his wallet. See, this is yet further proof of the truths that women say, no, we don't objectify men. Yeah, you do, just in different ways. For their money, for their resources, honey. Ay. So, I guarantee you this is going to make this broad a feminist hero. Because the feminists are going to come out of the woodwork to defend her. And this is just going to elevate her, because, deep down, all these women would love to do this, right? And I'm sorry, okay? First of all, her defense, or her kind of minimalization language, is that, well, I didn't rape him. No, you just robbed them. And by the way, we only have her word on that. I don't believe for a second that she didn't get some good-looking Johns. Hey, women are no less susceptible, maybe a little less susceptible, but they're not completely lacking in the ability to be turned on by a good-looking guy. Don't tell me that she didn't get some good-looking Johns, that while they were passed out, and don't tell me that she didn't decide, why not? I mean, it's an involuntary reaction, you know. All she'd have to do is go down on him, awake or asleep. They'd get a woody like that, and then she'd bang him and then leave. Don't tell me that she didn't rape any of these guys, okay? I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. That the level of scorn and bitterness and cynicism and anger, the amount of hate that this woman has toward men, are you going to tell me that she's got this passed out man, this creature that she despises and sees only as a utility to be used and abused and tossed aside? And of course she can do that because that's all men do with women. I'm just doing what they've done to us for millennia. Don't tell me that she didn't take advantage of some of these guys and express her derision through banging some of these dudes that were passed out. I don't buy it for a second. I'm almost certain she would have raped some of these guys. Not that it matters if she didn't. You know, these are already felony counts. Drugging people, knocking them out, robbing them, sometimes probably at thousands of bucks. Maybe tens of thousands. Maybe some of these guys had Rolexes or shit. Remember that Charlie Sheen? The dummy that left a whore alone in his bedroom while he went to the bathroom and then she swiped his $150,000 Rolex? He's a real genius. He's got AIDS now. Unfortunately for him, he's got the money that he can afford those ridiculously priced AIDS medications. But this fucking guy, how dumb are you? She didn't have to knock him out to rob him blind. But yeah, who knows how much she stole from these guys? I mean, guys that can afford a high-price call girl that advertises online that costs $500 to $1,000 an hour, they could have some pretty pricey bling, eh? So, but don't tell me she didn't rape these guys. I'm certain she did. Of course she did. Are you kidding me? Come on. And again, what does it matter? Oh, well, you know, it's okay because I didn't rape them. I just committed felony robbery and poisoned these guys, and that might have killed them, you know, because I'm not a fucking pharmacist What did I do? Look him up and down? 6'3", 286 pounds. Okay, so that gives me a dosage of 1.45 milligrams into the drink. She's not a fucking doctor. She didn't weigh these fucking guys and compare the fucking ratio of kilograms to the amount of the dose required to knock them out. She's just pouring in the fucking roofie shit into the drink and knocking them the fuck out. She could have killed some of these fucking guys. Let me know what you think about this. I'm opening up the phone lines now. But it's crazy. Crazy. People talk about how women do not have privilege. Men have the privilege. Really? Oh, come on. Get the fuck out of here. If a man did this, what would happen to him? Well, he'd be in the slammer. First of all, women would not sit by. Okay, it's okay for them to be victims, right? This is another thing, right? I love how women talk about how, well, you know, women are victims. They don't rape men. They don't do anything to men. Come on. Men just don't come forward because they're ashamed. We're the stronger sex. We're supposed to be able to fight this kind of thing off. There's shame if we are victimized in such a way that we can't fight off somebody, especially a woman. Men don't come forward. There's a perfect example of that. Now you've got this Cardi B admitting. Does anybody out there think that a man could have come forward and admitted this and his career would not be over like that? I mean, after hearing this Cardi B stuff, is there anybody out there that believes that there's such a thing as male privilege and not female privilege? Anybody? Anybody out there think that if you didn't have privilege that you could get away with this? It's insane. That's it. All right. Hello.
Hello, real philosopher.
Hello, Sith. How are you?
No, it's Jim Status.
Oh, it's Jim Status. Okay, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, okay.
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I thought it was Sith.
Yeah, I want to comment on the Cardi B situation.
Okay, let me know what you think. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so this broad has millions of followers on Instagram. Her views on YouTube are in the millions. I hear her music up and down. Every car is playing all her goddamn songs. You know, everyone loves her. All the kids love her. All her music is about how she has the best pussy in the world, and so all her songs are about things like that. And yeah, she got invited by some Democrats to speak at a convention in Ohio. And you also got AOC retweeting her all the time. This is who they see as a paragon of nobility and a leader to the kids.
Wow, that's scary. That's scary. I mean, if she wasn't a bad enough example. You know, if AOC wasn't a bad enough example for kids, look at me. I'm a moron. If you get no education and don't study and don't apply yourself, you can be just like me, a congresswoman. I mean, talk about a bad example. But now you get this Cardi B running around who's admitting to robbing men. And I don't think it stopped there, by the way. I mean, let's be honest. You know, look at her. She's a hoe. You're going to tell me she didn't take advantage and get some cock while she's there in that room alone with these knocked out dudes? Come on. I'm not buying that for a second. So she's probably a rapist. She's definitely a thief. I don't, and yet all the tweets I saw were like, the majority of them were positive. I mean, it was like half and half, but as many people who were attacking her, just as many were coming forward to defend her.
Oh yeah. They're all saying she did what she had to do to survive. Yeah, right.
She had to rob people? Oh, you had to do that. I have to eat. I have to eat. Yeah, right. Yeah, you look like you're eating just fine, honey. And, you know, you're charging an overpriced amount. That poon of yours is overpriced. I mean, what was she advertising on Craigslist or something? You know, getting $400 or $500 an hour. I think you'll eat just fine, honey. Go to the Waffle Shack, okay? They're pretty cheap. You don't need to rob this guy of his fucking Rolex and his money and risk killing him. And that's another thing. She's no fucking doctor. She could have killed these fucking guys. These are dangerous drugs. You're poisoning these people. You get the dose wrong, they're not waking up.
She would prostitute out of the strip club she was working at.
Oh, she was a stripper?
Yeah. She was a stripper, and when she would give guys lap dances, they say, "Hey, how much to bang you?" And she'd be like, "Oh, let's go to a hotel," and that's where she would do it.
Oh my God! Oh, so she has no virtue at all. Did she at least have a kid she needed to support? I mean, usually these strippers,
No.
they make an excuse like, oh well, I had children, I had to do it. I mean, maybe I could understand that. Maybe you got some virtue of like, oh, of course, how much virtue do you have being a single mother? Let's be honest. But
she was raised by her grandma.
oh my God! So she was raised by a single mom. Oh, actually, her mom disappeared. So she was raised by her mom's mom and no father.
Yep.
A big surprise, big shocker. Yeah, and no wonder she has no virtue. No wonder she has no values. Jesus Christ! So she would bang these guys in the strip club. No wonder she hates men, right? She sees them all as deplorables.
Well, I guess she'd meet him. She'd meet him at the strip club.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, it's not surprising she hates men so much. Most of these strippers have a very low opinion of men. And then you take into account her father disappeared, her mother disappeared. I mean, the father disappearing, in addition to the negative interaction she would have had with men in a strip club, would just reinforce her hatred of men and further enable her to justify her robbing them blind. So sad.
Yeah, and she fits a few of the intersectionality points. So she's not a man.
Right. Yeah.
She's not white.
Yeah.
She's half black, half Latina.
Oh,
she's
there you
not
go.
Straight.
Oh, she's not? She's a lesbo?
Bisexual.
Oh, she's bi. Oh,
she's
wow.
Bisexual.
She could almost rule the world. She could almost rule the if she was a dwarf and an Indian to boot. If she was a Native American and a dwarf too, she could rule the fucking world.
And she shares a lot of things on solidarity with Muslims.
Oh, right. She'd have to be a Muslim. So, I mean, if she was a Muslim, dwarf, and Native American, too, like that Nathan Phillips liar, then she could rule the fucking world. I mean, if she had all 6 or 7 of those intersectionality points, she could become the new God Emperor of Earth. But unfortunately, she doesn't quite tick all the boxes. But enough that she gets a fucking pass on robbing guys and probably raping them. Let me ask you this. Do you really believe that I mean, of course she did it many times, right? She wouldn't have done it just once. The criminals are like this. They get away with something, it just emboldens them, and they don't stop, and it's easy money. And these guys are not likely to report it because they're committing a crime as well by soliciting a prostitute, not to mention the fact that they would be ashamed. And, if they have money, they would just go, okay, I'm not going to report it. It's too shameful, and it's not that big a loss to me. Do you really think that she didn't rape any of these guys, too? Do you really buy that?
Oh, no. She most likely did, yeah.
Yeah, because of her intense hate.
And another reason why these guys probably don't report it is because they're involved in that lifestyle too. They're probably drug dealers themselves and all that.
Some of them probably would have been. Yeah, those kind of guys love these strip club places, right? But regardless, there would be the male shame, and I don't think that people understand that men just don't report, not because nothing happens, but because they are ashamed. And so these things happen often to men as well. And I love it when women...
Even in domestic violence cases, men get abused just as much as women, but they don't report.
Right. In fact, evidence has shown that women initiate the violence more than men. They're more likely to start the altercation than a man. They're more likely to use violence first. And they love to throw shit. They love to throw shit big time. You'd think they'd be better at throwing stuff, by the way, the amount they love to throw, but they still throw like girls.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I really don't get it. I think it's a very interesting story, but I'm going to move on from here. Hey, thanks a lot for calling on in, Jim. Glad to hear from you, man.
Hey, thank you so much. I love all your content. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's Jim Status, one of my very loyal supporters and patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for calling in, Jim. Always good to get your take on things. Yeah, it's a very, very sad state of affairs that we exist within, that a woman like that, well, woman, use that very loosely, this animal, this creature that is Cardi B, gets away with this. She's going to get away with it because she could just be LARPing it, being a felon, right, making this shit up. No, she's not, of course, but there's no complaining witness. You have to have an actual victim for the police to do anything. They're not just sitting there on Instagram. Oh, look, Cardi B says she robbed some guys and drugged them. Huh? Where's the complaining witness? Where's the victim? Oh, nobody came forward. Meh. They can't do anything unless some of these guys come forward, and of course they're not going to, right? So sad. But this is a perfect example of female privilege, and now you know who's really ruling the world. It's very, very unfortunate. And I'll tell you what, people need to wake up to this fact. Women are continually telling everybody that they're the victims, they're the victims, they're the victims. It's a male-run world. It's a patriarchy. We're not in charge. Men are in charge. Now, the reason that they do this is because they want to essentially brainwash you to, in turn, blind you to the truth, that they're actually the ones running things. And that truth is just below the surface enough that to the person viewing things, you know, on a surface level, doesn't really pick up on the fact that women are in charge because they have been, to a certain extent, indoctrinated not to see this and to believe a false narrative. Now, eventually, it will become so glaringly obvious that no amount of brainwashing will completely blind people to this fact. And then more and more people will start to stand up, but it's going to take a long time before people start seeing the truth and start objecting to what is an obvious fact to me, that women are the ones running things. And all this talk about victimhood and being victims, and the reason they're crying victim, because it pays. It pays dividends. There is a payoff. They get to remain in power. They get to remain in charge, get all the special privileges, all the while crying foul. We're the victims. Men are not the victims. That's why they don't want the attention focused on anybody else but them. That's why men come out. When men come out and protest and participate in activism for men's rights, the women show up in numbers 10, 20, 100 times more than the men. They got to shut that shit down immediately. That's why they do their best to infiltrate men's rights groups. When men's rights groups first started, the feminista who claimed to be allies of men infiltrated and took over and essentially sent it down a path of uselessness. What have men's rights groups accomplished for men? Big fat zero. Same goes for conservatives. What have conservatives accomplished? Zero. What have they conserved? They've conserved nothing. And the truth of the matter is that the conservative voices out there who are the most popular, if you question them, they're flat-out globalists. Like Jordan Peterson, who himself, though, isn't actually a conservative. And if you even scratch the surface a little bit, you'll see that he's really just a more moderate leftist. And that his problem isn't actually with the left, but his problem is with the radical left. He didn't have a problem with leftists. He just has a problem with how far they've gone to the left and become radical. Anyway, enough about this Cardi B. That whore has gotten enough attention. I hope some guys actually come forward and speak out against her so that she can be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But let's move on. Anyway, I wanted to very quickly address the Mueller probe and all this stuff around the no collusion, no Russian collusion. Everybody's so happy. Everybody's so up in arms. I didn't comment on this initially because I'm going to be honest, it doesn't interest me. I mean, it's been going on for 2 years. It's an obvious witch hunt. It's just, to me, it's as far as it interests me. It's just more of the same. Politics as usual. Nothing new there. But this reaction that people have, many on the right, of course, saying, yeah, no collusion. And so many of you are like, yeah, this is great, yeah, now Trump is free, let's have a party, hardy, Marty. No. Let me explain something to you, okay? This isn't over. It's just begun. It's just begun. You have to understand. You have to understand the mindset of a leftist, all right? They do not admit failure. If they stumble, they trip, they don't acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge it at all. If they continue tripping, they'll continue tripping. And then they'll make tripping into a good thing. Okay? That they don't admit they're wrong or do anything to correct what led to their tripping. No. They'll just rationalize it, justify it, and try to make it into something that's a good thing, an acceptable thing. My foibles aren't foibles. I'm going to turn that into something that's the new normal. Yeah. Now everybody's got the same foible as me. Ooh. You got to understand these people, okay? There's a reason they don't ever apologize, okay? It's all about power and control with these people, at least to a large extent, and that's where the postmodernistic aspect comes in. It's all about a power dynamic that you never admit you are wrong. Makes you a target, makes you vulnerable. That's why they're always trying to get people on the right to admit they're wrong. Then they can make that person completely ineffective with continued attacks and pointing out, look at what an evil bastard this is. Oh, because when you admit you're wrong in their mind, you've lost all power to oppose them, okay? You've given them the power to attack and destroy you. They don't do that, all right? They'll never admit they're wrong. So, and they're also paranoid as hell, right? So they're not going to accept the results of the Mueller probe. And really, what results were there? Did it prove no collusion? No. They just found no evidence. You know what that tells them? He did his best. Oh, Trump is smarter than we thought. And by the way, they would have been shocked out of their minds if this found actual evidence of collusion. They weren't expecting it to find evidence. I guarantee you the majority of these people, the majority of them did not expect to find evidence. They expected to find no evidence. And in their minds, no evidence is evidence. Excuse me. I know that seems crazy, but that's how these people think. Okay? Because that just proves the collusion even more. Because that just means there's a deeper level of covert activity going on. Oh, there was no evidence found. Boy, that Trump, we thought he was a moron, but he might actually be playing 3D chess. You know, those multi-tiered chessboards you saw in Star Trek and shit. He might be playing three-dimensional chess, maybe four-dimensional, five-dimensional. Oh, my God. He's smarter than we thought. It's not that there was no collusion. We just didn't find evidence because they did their best to hide it, you see. So for them, no evidence is evidence, okay? It's totally illogical. If you have any logic, if you have any reason, any critical thinking skills, you realize, or at least it would occur to you that, maybe there's no evidence because he didn't do it. Now, to a reasonable person, that would be a correct assessment, or at least that would be one possible conclusion that would occur to you. Okay, maybe there's no evidence because he didn't do it. Yeah. So not guilty doesn't mean innocent, right? Maybe there was collusion, although no. No, I don't think so. Thousands of hours, hundreds of hours of interviews, 40 FBI agents put on this for 2 years, tons and tons of investigations, lots and lots of indictments for things that were tangential, lying to Congress and stuff like that, stuff that's unrelated to Russian collusion. But nothing about Russian collusion got anybody indicted, well, except for the fact that the actual investigation itself, which was started by a FISA warrant initiated by Hillary and Obama that was based on that Steele document that Hillary herself commissioned to have done, which was 100% propaganda. This entire investigation was based on a lie. A document that was commissioned for like $176,000 or something, paid to her lawyer and then paid to some other guy who went to Russia and compiled it. It was a lie. The Steele document is proven propaganda. The FISA warrant to initiate the investigation that has been going on for 2 years that produced bupkis about the Russian collusion conspiracy is based on a lie. So, of course, there's no evidence. It's obviously bullshit. But, of course, if you're a leftist, it's just proof that there's more going on here than we thought because we know he did it. We know he's guilty. Bill Maher. Bill Maher, that wacko leftist who got his own show somehow, right? I don't care if there's no evidence. I know he did it. You have to understand, these people act only on feeling. They only act on emotion. They feel he did it. They feel it, so they know it. It doesn't matter that you found no evidence because, remember, these are people that believe there's such a thing as my truth, right? My facts. Well, those are your facts. They're not my facts. not realizing that there is no such thing as your facts and my facts. There's just facts. But of course, if you're a relativist, if you're a hard solipsist, and you believe your real brain is in some fucking tank somewhere, and your consciousness is being beamed into the fucking matrix or some shit, well, then your truth could be your truth, because there's no such thing as objective reality, right? So, yeah, they believe that all of them believe it, right? They all believe it, so they're in their little bubbles, and, they just reinforce each other's belief that he is guilty, and the fact that there's no evidence doesn't mean anything, right? Because they don't acknowledge your truth. They only have their truth, right? Which is, by the way, why that idea has been pushed for so long in the first place. So that facts don't mean anything. People that don't believe in objective truth, don't believe in facts other than their own, are very easily manipulated and indoctrinated. And once they are manipulated and indoctrinated into a particular ideology, there's no going back then, baby. You are not going to steer them down another path. They are committed to that particular ideological view of the world, and that's the only truth. It's their truth, and it's the only truth. It's amazing how all these people share this pretty much exact same truth in a world that they think is all about relativism and, no objective reality, that we're all living within, no shared reality. But all these people are sharing the same ideology. It's very interesting. Yeah. It's my truth. Hey, that's my truth too. You would think this would clue them into the fact that we're living in a shared existence called objective reality. But no. Oh, we've just chosen, you see. We've all chosen the truth, right? Well, how are you aware of any truth that has become your truth, that is somehow the truth of reality, if that reality doesn't exist in the first place? Oh, a blue screen. Cannot compute. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to touch on that ever so briefly, and that was briefly for me, believe me. All right, let me move on. Now, this is wacky. This next story, there's a new bill in Georgia, which I'm just so happy about, that essentially, get this, will make abortion illegal if you can hear a heartbeat. Now, I got to tell you, I'm an anti-abortion guy. Not for the whole, all this bullshit about my body, my choice nonsense, or pro-life stuff. I don't ascribe to being an anti-abortion guy because of the pro-life stuff. I'm an empiricist. I'm not a scientist. That's not what I studied in school specifically. But I believe in science very much. I believe in empiricism, logic, reason. I'm not a religious person. I'm not a mystic. I don't believe in this bullshit about a soul, a spirit. Life begins at conception. That's patently false. But at some point it does begin, okay? And I think that a good standard, at least a baseline standard, is being able to hear a heartbeat. Okay? Once there's a discernible heartbeat, there's something there, okay? There's a life, okay? We moved somehow beyond a clump or a clustering of cells. This has reached an entirely new level of development, which I think should be respected. Now, it's not completely autonomous, but that's a specious argument in my mind. It's not separate. It couldn't exist without the mother. I don't see the argument for how that in any way, shape, or form justifies the woman killing it. I don't acknowledge that. But beyond that, that's not my objection. My objection is that abortion destroys nations. It destroys societies because it essentially destroys the family. Women no longer have to place emphasis on finding a good man. They no longer have to essentially pair bond with a man, settle down with a man, have kids with a man, stay with a man. There's no incentive, okay, to do so. Of course, that has a lot to do with feminism, right? But it lets women be irresponsible with their bodies, okay? And that's what makes it impossible for them to be able to pair bond and settle down with that man and have kids with one man and stay with one man, because they've had sex with too many men. Women are whores these days. They're sluts. They just sleep around, and they can do that because, I get pregnant. If I get pregnant, I'll just go and get an abortion, right? And eventually it reaches a point where they have no emotion, no feeling, no attachment to men of any kind. And as anybody with half a brain knows, women are emotional creatures. Men are logical and reasonable. So women attach emotionally to men. If they lose that ability, they don't give a fuck about you, you know? You're just a wallet. Which, by the way, is why we have so many single mothers running around collecting child support. Almost half the fucking population, because that has been incentivized. All right? It's been incentivized by the state. It's been made A-OK by the culture and society at large, which has done their best to remove the stigma because they've been taught to do so by academia, by the media. So, yeah, families are becoming not the norm, but the exception. And, you know, without a stable, strong family, strong foundation of family, you have people that have no strong foundation of self, and they're easily manipulated to become tax livestock for the state, useful idiots for the state. So my issue with abortion isn't the whole pro-life shit, okay? It's not a cluster of shells. It's your spirit, life, entity. Did his life at conception. You know, give me a break with your magic talk, okay? Okay, shaman? Give me a fucking break with your bullshit, cleric, all right? Get the fuck out of here. Nonsense. I can perform magic and miracles, and people believe this shit. Come on. Prayers work. Yeah, right. Intercessory prayer has been proven through science to be bullshit. But all these people believe this nonsense. Now, my objection is it destabilizes nations by enabling the woman to not pair bond with a man, not be responsible with her own body. My body, my choice. Yeah, but you are the baby toaster oven. It's up to you to choose the right man to provide the proper resources and values and virtues to your child, to be a good role model so that you produce a functioning, self-actualized, self-aware, strong, stable human being. But you don't do any of that. You're irresponsible. So, yeah, it contributes to a lot of irresponsibility and the destabilization of a nation by destabilizing the family, by making it far less likely that a family will even begin. So that's my issue. And so Georgia has passed a law. If you can hear a heartbeat, no abortion for you. Now, of course, you know, I don't know how much this has in regards to teeth. Insofar as enforcement, I mean, couldn't the broad just jump in a car and go to the neighboring state and get an abortion there? Sure. But I think it sends a good message. I think it sends a good message. I think it sets a good precedent. I think it sends a good message for the people in Georgia who are voters in federal elections. And if enough states make this law, then the people that grow up in those states over 1 or 2 generations will come to adopt the belief that abortion is wrong. And it is wrong. And then they will vote to put people into office on the federal level who have those same beliefs, and then things will perhaps change for the better. Will this happen overnight? Nah. Take a couple generations. And, of course, first of all, laws like this would need to be passed in the majority of American states. And, of course, laws like this will never be passed in states like Florida and California, right? Aren't those a Democratic stronghold, especially California? But if it gets passed, if laws like this get passed in enough states, then it could become reality on a federal level. But anyway, this story is crazy. This is crazy. Listen to this. Alyssa Milano, yes, the has-been actress who's had her kids and hit the wall and hasn't been in any kind of successful TV show or movie in, what, a decade? What was the last thing she was on? That Charmed show? That was crap, wasn't it? It was horrible. It had that big giant spell book, that prop. What a dumb show. Anybody out there watch that? I never watched that. I guess it wasn't my age group. But anyway, Alyssa Milano calls for a boycott of Georgia. Boycott of Georgia. She wants to boycott an entire state. That's hilarious. Let's boycott America. Well, where are we going to live? I don't know. but we're only American citizens. We don't have dual citizenship. Well, we can live on the moon. Excuse me. Talk about somebody who has a no grasp on reality. Yeah, let's just boycott whole states. What does she think? Georgia's Chick-fil-A? Let's just boycott the planet Earth. Yeah, we can live on Mars. You do realize there's no way to get there. We'll invent a spaceship. But you're a moron. I'll overcome that too. Because reality is just my perception, and if I perceive a spaceship, I can climb on it and fly to the moon. You would think that leftist inability to warp, to mutate, to change reality to such an extent where they could do things like that would kind of inform them that reality is not mutable, reality is not changeable, reality is reality, and it's not relative, you pinheads. If reality was really perception, you could pretty much do anything. Eat the sun. Jump over the moon. I mean, oh, God. These people are so stupid. They never really sit down and analyze and look at their beliefs. They never follow them to their most extreme logical conclusion to see that what they believe is ridiculous. Of course not. Because they can't think. That's great. Teach somebody a relativistic way to look at the world, and then don't give them in any way, shape, or form the power to analyze it and follow that way of thinking to its logical conclusion to see that it's nonsense. We didn't give them the tools to do that. They can't figure out it's nonsense. And if anybody presents them with those facts, well, that's your reality. That's not my reality. Bunch of fucking Gomer Piles running around here. Okay, so she calls for a boycott of Georgia after Senate approval of heartbeat abortion ban. Wow. So she called for no Hollywood film companies, or all Hollywood film companies, to boycott the state of Georgia after the Senate passed a measure that would ban abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected. Who wants to go to Georgia? Kind of a shithole? I don't know, man. I mean, in the South itself, still pretty poor. They haven't even recovered from the Civil War and losing all their fucking wealth in the form of their slaves just getting up and walking away. What do I care, Georgia? Just go to Louisiana instead. We need to film this film that was that's going to happen in the 1860s America, and there's still slavery going on. Well, where are we going to go? Georgia. Oh, we're supposed to ban Georgia. All right, let's go to Louisiana. Whoop de fucking do. What does Georgia care? Big fucking whoopee. Yeah, so what? Okay, you ban Georgia. Big deal. Who cares? I don't care. I don't think Georgia cares. My point is, who's going to Georgia? Nobody's going to Georgia to shoot films. Can you tell me the last film that was shot in Georgia? Like that's some big boon to the local economy. Yeah, come on. Oh, boy. I mean, maybe it's something of a boom, but come on. Maybe there's some of the catering companies there, right? Yeah. Got to have that little snack table. You know how in Hollywood they got the little fucking snack table covered with the fucking donuts and all that other finger food shit to keep the people nice and fueled. All right, so, you know, some catering companies lose some business in Georgia. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I mean, what else are you going to be contributing to the local economy, huh? I mean, don't they actors, they sleep in that fucking big trailer, right? They have their own trailer. I guess that's not good enough. All right, some hotels lose some revenue. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Go ahead, boycott Georgia. Yeah, you got to get more business in Georgia. People will show solidarity for Georgia by going to Georgia. What was it that happened to Chick-fil-A? Didn't the wacky leftists try to ban Chick-fil-A or boycott Chick-fil-A, and then lots of people on the right went to Chick-fil-A and there were lines out the door? How are you going to boycott Georgia, by the way? I don't understand this. What, are you going to not drive through it? What if you have to drive through it? You're going to go around it? You're going to spend more money on gas to go around Georgia than through it? Nah, you're going to go through Georgia. How do you boycott a state? I don't understand this. Yeah, I'm sure Hollywood's listening to you, has-been lady. Yeah, who's the Bush? Tony Danza, 1980. You haven't been a name in Hollywood for ages, honey. Nobody's listening to you. Oh, my God. So there are over 20 productions shooting in Georgia and the state just voted to strip women of their bodily autonomy. 20 production in Georgia, really? Oh, we got Seth. Somebody calling in. Hello.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. Hello, Sith. How are you doing today?
I was calling because I was hearing about that Alison Milano whore. I used to do softcore porn
Really?
when she was young.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
you should. In the 1995. 1995. Sorry.
Wow, I'm going to have to go on Pornhub and look that up.
Yeah, you can see her tits and her ass. She was great looking.
Oh, she was
young.
Yeah, she was good looking broad when she was young, man. And now, of course, she's popped out 2 or 3 kids, so not so much now. But yeah, I'm going to have to check that out, man. So she did softcore porn. Was this like for a movie, or was she doing like multiple films where she was doing, I mean, was it like something she did
It's
for
a movie with story. The story.
Oh,
It's
it's
a love story, murder story. It's bullshit movies. But you can see her ass in her tits, and she probably sucks on producer's cock for sure. Of course, she's a whore.
Right. Oh, so of course, you know, she's the victim, right? Yeah, she's the victim. I had to do that to get the job. Woe is me. Yeah, I'm a victim. Well, nobody made you. Nobody forced you to do that. You know, you chose to do that because you wanted the job in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, it's because when she was young, she did that crappy show, that sitcom,
Who's the
and
boss?
when she ended that show, she didn't have any opportunity in Hollywood. So all she had to do is sell her pussy.
Right.
That's what I think.
I do remember she was in this one movie called The Crush or something. It had that blonde broad that was asking the cops, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And it had that Marky Mark dude. Well, Mark Wahlberg as the nut job who was who wanted to bang her. Oh, it wasn't The Crush. I forget what it was called. But she was in that. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg probably banged her.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He banged everything back then until he met that fat wife of his now. Have you seen his wife, Mark Wahlberg's wife?
Yeah, I remember your video about him. Yeah, it's bullshit. You should have married that Alison Milano whore. At least he will have something more.
Yeah, she better looking than his wife. My God, she's a lamb whale. She's hideous. And of course, he can't get out because, you know, if he divorces her, he'll lose everything.
He's worth $50 million. He will lose $25 million.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened to Robin Williams, for God's sake. That poor guy, just 2 ex-wives were sucking so much money out of him. He was 62 years old. He was still having to do stand-up comedy when he should have been retiring because he had tens of millions of dollars in alimony to pay these broads. And then he killed himself.
I know, he was a great guy.
I loved Robin Williams. He was fucking great. He was he's a light in the world, and it's a much dimmer place now that he's gone. But yeah, Alyssa Milano. Oh my God, Boycott Georgia? What the fuck is she talking about? Why did I boycott Europe? I just won't travel to Europe. Yeah, but I have business in Europe. Well, too bad. It's not like boycotting McDonald's. You can't boycott a whole state. What is she thinking? Stupid.
In Georgia is a big city like Atlanta. It's millions of people. How can you boycott fucking Georgia? It's millions of people.
Well, Georgia's a state in America. It's huge. It's a huge southern state. It's millions and millions of people. I mean, it's not like Chick-fil-A. I don't like what Chick-fil-A did. I won't eat a chicken sandwich. Oh, well, that's not a huge sacrifice. But if you've got fucking business in Georgia that's worth millions of dollars, or you're going to save millions of dollars because it's so cheap to shoot movies there, what are you going to do? You're going to go to Georgia. People are very, very, very vocal about their beliefs and their values when it doesn't cost them anything. It's very easy to be noble when it costs you a big fat zero. But when it actually comes time to losing money, then we'll see how noble you are. You want to know how many people are going to boycott Georgia because of this and Melissa Milano's big fat mouth? A big fat zero, okay? No Hollywood fucking movie production company is going to lose millions of dollars because of her and some heartbeat bill. They're all a bunch of fucking hypocrites anyway. These fucking people. They annoy me so much, these fucking Hollywood types. Yeah. There's Boycott Georgia. Yeah, it'll cost you $20 million. Let's find another way to protest. That's a lot of money. Oh, my God. Yeah, she was... so after she did that, Who's the Boss, I do know she did some crappy movies, but I didn't know she appeared naked in any of them, so I'll have to go check those out. Thank you for letting me know that. I'd like to see that broad's ass. She had a nice ass. She had a nice ass back in the day.
Yeah, she pretended to fuck dudes on the camera, of course. It didn't last like more than 5 minutes. Just softcore porn. You don't see that much. You see her tits. Cool. That's all.
Oh, no ass?
Yeah, I think you see the ass in some scenes. You have to check that out because it's crappy movies.
I see. And then she got that show, and then she finally got that TV show Charmed, I guess. And that ended.
That's where she known that hover war. What's her name?
You're talking about the broad from Beverly Hills 90210?
Yeah.
Shannon Doherty?
And the other one.
The other one, I forget. The other one was... oh, shit, I don't remember. This is a chick show, man. You're lucky I remember one of her co-stars. The chick from that 90210. The other one, I don't recall. But it was a very forgettable TV show. Yeah, very forgettable.
It's a feminist show.
Yeah, just like that. I saw that Captain Marvel, by the way.
Oh, shit.
It's horrible, man. Bad. I tell you, it was so cringy. And every opportunity that fucking bitch who played Captain Marvel had to show how tough she was, how empowered she was, she took it. I don't need to prove anything to you, man. Meaning patriarchy.
I have the name of the actresses. Rose McGowan. She used to play in that show.
Okay.
And there was Kaylee Cuoco.
Rose McGowan? Well, isn't that the broad that now was involved in the Me Too movement, and she's all hyped up on cocaine? When she did some speech, and she was clearly high, and she looks really, really bad, like she hit the wall face first with a fucking rocket pack on her back, going 600 miles an hour. That's how bad she looks.
That's where Alyssa Milano knew that bitch. Like 15 years ago.
I see. All right, good to know. Well, thank you very much, Sith. Good talking to you. I got to head out. Call back soon, man. All righty, take care, buddy. That was Sith, regular listener. All right, so this Alyssa Milano stuff. Yeah, Boycott Georgia. It's not like boycotting a business, okay? According to Fox News, Georgia is considered the #1 filming location in the world. What? I got egg on my face. I was thinking, why the fuck would anybody go to Georgia? But I was like, who's going there? Apparently a lot of people are going there. See, I'm not right about everything. Just most things. Seriously, though. The #1 filming location in the world? Wow. Must be a real shithole. They must be so desperate for business, they're willing to give any and all kinds of tax fucking breaks possible. You want to do business in Georgia? We'll only tax you 10%. Nah, I think we'll go to Louisiana. Okay, we'll tax you 0. Ooh, okay. They're real desperate for fucking business. Georgia Film, Music, and Digital Entertainment Office reported last week the bill would ban abortions after the detection of a fetal heartbeat at about the 6th or 7th week of pregnancy. This seems reasonable to me. I don't see a problem with this. The state Senate affirmed Georgia's commitment to life and the rights of the innocent unborn, said Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Earlier in March, Alyssa Milano, who also starred in Charmed. You don't need a high IQ to be on these TV shows, okay? Stop paying attention to these old, washed-up has-beens. She was severely criticized for calling herself a Whoa. Wait a second. Alyssa Milano said what about herself? She was severely criticized for calling herself a disabled, transgender person of color in a social media post on International Women's Day. Now we've moved into a new level of bizarre. We've moved on to a new plane of bizarre. What? I wouldn't know where she said this. In January, the actress also claimed that supporters of Donald Trump identified with white supremacy, and then attempted to clarify that statement as well. Let me be clear. I'm not saying everyone who voted for Trump is a racist. Aren't you kind of saying that? That is kind of what you're saying. I mean, look, whenever somebody feels the need to qualify a prior statement or to excuse a prior statement or exclude something about a prior statement to try and essentially backpedal or change something in this way, what they're actually saying they're not doing, they're doing, okay? I'm not saying everyone who voted for Trump's a racist. That's exactly what you're saying, or you wouldn't be trying to say this. To say you didn't say that. I'm saying that everyone who proudly wears the red hat identifies with an ideology of white supremacy and misogyny. Well, most Trump supporters will wear the hat. And even if they don't wear the hat, they believe in the message. So you are saying that all Trump supporters are racist. See, I told you. I'm the prognosticator of all prognosticators, but Jesus Christ, you don't even need to be a prognosticator to see this shit. I'm not saying that everyone who voted for Trump is racist, just the ones who believe his message. But they all believe his message or they wouldn't have voted for him. So you are saying they're all racist. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying that, but I want to tell you I'm not saying that, so you'll believe that's not what I'm saying, even though that's what I'm saying. Well, okay. Everyone who proudly wears those hats gives a tacit endorsement for the hatred and violence we've seen these past few... What are you talking about? The only people I see being violent against people and whacking them over the head with bike locks and baseball bats and shit are you people. I don't see any fucking conservatives running around beating people up. I don't see these people going to leftist rallies and leftist groups organizing and giving their wacky speeches. But which, by the way, do they do that? I mean, it seems to me that all the left does when it comes to organizing, to protest or speak, is to show up at a rightist rally. Has anybody noticed that? They don't actually seem to come together and give too many speeches. They don't seem to come together and give too many talks. It seems like their idea of a talk is to come to your talk as a conservative or somebody on the right and then interrupt it by banging a fucking drum or a fucking tambourine or some shit in your face while you're on stage. And for some reason, the cops that are there don't stop them. But I don't see white people being violent. White people are some of the least racist, least violent people on the fucking planet. Crime statistics prove that. I think you're something like 12 times more likely or something to be assaulted by a black person if you're white than a white person would assault a black person. I forget the numbers. I think they're higher than 12 times. I mean, these are ridiculously high numbers in regards to race-on-race violence. I mean, you're many times more likely as a white person to be assaulted than to assault anybody else. And that's in a country that's majority white. It's crazy. Only 13% of the population, but they're responsible for 51% of all the fucking murders. But somehow Whitey is the one that's the most violent? Get the fuck out of here. Tacit endorsement for the violence and hatred we've seen these past... I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? See, when they talk about perception as reality, the truth of this is that you feed people a particular narrative, a particular type of propaganda. You lie to them, you distort, you warp the facts, and then you feed them that information. And that's all they perceive, and then to them, that becomes the reality, okay? That's how the left, the global elites, the media, academia, program you, okay? Very early on, they get a hold of you. They implant a specific ideology, and that becomes the filter for the information that you receive. That becomes the intake mechanism, and then you are only really going to be susceptible, only able to be programmed, only able to be fed information of a very, very specific type. And to make sure that that's the case, they take over the media, they take over the academia to essentially get a lock on all the possible sources of information that you could get, to the point where most of the information you get is of the variety that you are already pre-programmed to accept. And the rest, that little small amount like that you might hear from Fox News, doesn't register. It's a blip on the radar. If you even listen to Fox News, which most of these whack jobs don't, right? Because those people in Fox are all evil. Yeah, right. And by the way, Fox News isn't some great bastion of conservatism either. Conservatives are... Don't get me started. What have they conserved, right? So anyway, so this has been, never was, former softcore porn. Now that I think about it, I do think I remember some like B-level, C-level, D-level movies that she did some softcore stuff in, right? Where the guy was wearing a sock on his dick, and, you know, she's grinding against him, and it's a simulated sex scene in a very bad movie. Let's go check that out. Of course, she doesn't look anything like that now, right? Nobody wants anything to do with Alyssa Milano, which is, of course, why she's out here doing all this activism, because she's got nothing else to do, right? Who's going to hire her? Oh, washed up broad. Nobody wants to see you. Boycott Georgia. Good luck with that, honey. Good luck with that. You know, I found that the left are the least likely to give up their wealth, their conveniences, than anybody else. They talk about how greedy and evil and selfish rich people are, and people on the right. But the truth of the matter is that's just projection. They're accusing you of what they're actually guilty of. They are the most selfish, greedy people on the planet. I mean, these are people that advocate for stealing from other people. Legally. I mean, look at them. Boycott Georgia. Yeah, they might boycott Chick-fil-A, they might boycott McDonald's, but when it comes to costing themselves actual money and having to lose something substantial to send a message, no, they're not going to do it. Good luck with this Boycott Georgia bullshit, honey. You're going to get nowhere, and I'm glad. And I'm glad this bill was passed, and I hope other states pick it up. I hope the majority of states pick up this kind of bill. That way, some sanity, some normalcy might be returned to America. But I got news for you. It's too little too late. I mean, eventually America's going to collapse. I know this is something you all don't want to hear, but, you know, the American economy, the American consumer, the typical American has slid too far to the left. Too many generations of Americans have been indoctrinated into a socialist mindset. The only way to fix it would be to essentially re-educate a couple more generations or more of Americans. And it's not going to happen because the left has already taken over academia. What do you think? They're just going to give up? Oh, you want to re-educate the kids to love their country and not be socialist scumbags like Marx was? Okay, I'll retire and I'll let you hire some conservative. No, that's not going to happen. Come on. So, yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked. You know, Trump is slowing it down a little bit. And if he stays in office another 4 years after his first term ends, yeah, he'll slow it down a little bit more, but that's all. He's just slowed the progress toward that cliff. He hasn't stopped it. I don't think anything can stop it. I think eventually going to drop off that cliff, smash into the rocks below, the rocks of fucking socialism that'll break the country into a million billion pieces. And, you know, who knows how many generations of horrible communist socialist existence we might experience, if any. If Americans still have their guns, we might not get to that point. But if Americans lose all their guns, yeah, we're fucked. And then we'll have to experience generations upon generations of communist socialist rule until, you know, people eventually come to their senses and then of their own volition throw off the chains that they put on themselves. Alrighty, so that's it for this show. If you liked, please subscribe to this channel, and I also suggest that you subscribe to my backup channel in case anything happens to this channel. I'm also making a concerted effort to produce more content for this channel, so I suggest you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, or Instagram, or all four. The links are on the bottom of the screen, so you can keep yourself apprised of any new content that I create. Also, if you'd like me to comment on a specific subject, to bring my philosophical tools to bear on a specific issue, please feel free to email me at admin at therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin at therealistphilosopher.com, or the Realist Philosopher at therealistphilosopher.com. Also, if you'd like to support my work, please consider donating. Making this show is a fair amount of work. Making any videos for this channel actually takes more time. What with filming and then editing. Time is money, and it's not easy. So if you could, please donate to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Please do so. Consider doing so anyway by going to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. If you're already contributing, if you can afford to contribute more, please do. I need your help. There's a lot of things I want to do, by the way, but can't do because I'm just not able to raise enough. So if you would consider donating, you'd be helping me out a lot, helping me to produce more content, and to expand my content production into other areas and new platforms. And yeah, that's it. I'll be on at the same time tomorrow, so you might want to consider calling in during the show. You can do a random call in to talk about any issue you want or whatever issue I'm talking about at the time. My Skype is The Realist Philosopher, and the call-in number is 623-242-2517. That's 623-242-2517. It's a United States number, so it's probably 100% free for you if you're in the continental United States and have a cell phone. Most of those cell phone plans have unlimited minutes in the United States, or a hell of a lot of minutes. There's also a Skype app, I believe, for your phone, so you could Skype as well. So there's a lot of ways to call into the show. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Also, I put these on SoundCloud, and I have a long series of podcasts as well on SoundCloud. You should really, really consider going and following me on SoundCloud, because whatever might happen to my content on YouTube or on any other platform, I pretty much put all of it there on SoundCloud. So I suggest you look in the description of this live stream and follow me there, because no matter what happens, you'll always be able to find me on my SoundCloud account. Or, of course, my website, therealistphilosopher.com. All righty, I'm going to head out. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.